dream that is recorded in chapter 7. Notice again verse 8. He says concerning him, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were plucked up of the first horns, plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. Now, if we read carefully and understand the prophetic symbol of the horns, we learn that the coming world leader subdues three other kings by plucking them out by the roots. This man will squeeze out the old to make room for the new. He will take over three kingdoms one by one, not by making war, but by clever political manipulation. He begins as the little horn, but then succeeds in uprooting three of the first horns and thus assuming their power to himself. Now, Daniel reiterated this event in chapter 11, verse 21, telling us that this future world leader shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. In other words, what he is going to do concerning these three kings and these three nations and these three powers is he is simply going to talk them out of it and talk himself into the possession of it. Imagine a man having that ability to be able to do that. Now, you say, well, Pastor, I don't know so much about that. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand. But how many of you have ever bought anything because of the slick talking of a salesman? Listen, how many, I'm not going to ask you this either. Just nod if you have. All right? I don't know who's guilty. How many of you have ever purchased a rainbow vacuum cleaner? Not because of the fact that you necessarily wanted to buy a rainbow vacuum cleaner, but because after the salesman showed you all the things that your poor vacuum cleaner could not do, and all the things that his wonderful vacuum cleaner could do, that he asked you that question. Now, based upon what I've shown you about yours, it's inferior, right? And you do this. Because it's leaving dust and it's blowing dust and it's everything, but you got it on sale. Amen. That's the only redeeming value you got of it. But he's going to say, but now look at my vacuum cleaner. I've dumped your vacuum cleaner's dirt out on the floor, and I have sucked it all up. I've got dirt out of your carpet that's been in there since the day you bought it. And look at the water, how filthy that it is. And all of you dear ladies are sitting there, you're just aghast because you're thinking, I didn't know my house was this dirty. Your husband said, I did, honey. There's that pizza that I dropped on the Super Bowl Sunday night. You said, I'll just leave it. The dog would get it up. And the dog didn't get it all. It's still in there, all right? But then he asked you this question. Since yours is so inferior and mine is so superior, can you give me one reason why that you shouldn't have this vacuum cleaner? Now, my comeback is always because that thing costs 10 times as much as my cheap one. I can buy 10 of these. I can live with a little dirt better than I can there. But they're slick. Have you ever bought an automobile because a salesman was sold to the place that he convinced you you could not live without it? How many of you have ever been sucked in by him saying to you, we have got a sale and it ends today? Can I tell you something? Every sale that ends today starts tomorrow. All right? You say, preacher, when is the best time to buy a car? Can I let you in on something? The best time to buy a car is when you need one. Don't buy one until, but when you need one, that's the time to buy one. But yet the thing is the job of that salesman is to create a need in your life, to cause you to believe you need a new vacuum cleaner. You need a new job. By the way, how many of you have ever been referred to because you had a former friend that referred that rascal to you and said, I've got 5 friends that they need to see that their vacuum cleaner's as sorry as mine was. I call them former friends because if you didn't buy that vacuum cleaner, listen, you probably called that friend and said, why don't you give him my name? Don't ever give my name out that way. But they always do. Don't you have 5 wonderful friends that you want to have the blessed experience you've had? And what do? We give them names and we get in trouble. Well, that's a whole another story, isn't it? You've been listening to the Let Freedom Ring radio broadcast, an outreach ministry of the Freedom Baptist Church in Greenville, South Carolina, with your host, Dr. Jim Kerrigan. Please mail all correspondence to Let Freedom Ring, Post Office Box 14067, Greenville, South Carolina 29610, or email us at drjimkerrigan@aol.com. You may also visit our website at www.freedombaptist-greenville.com. Join us for our next broadcast, and until then, remember, if the Son shall make you free, you shall be free indeed.